Exclusive royal update. Princess Leonor weds Christian, a moment history will never forget. The palace bells echoed through Madrid. The sky, golden with morning light, seemed to hold its breath. Across Europe, millions of hearts paused. Princess Leonor of Spain, the future queen, had finally wed Prince Christian of Denmark. The whispers, the speculation, the years of quiet longing, it all led to this. And as the world watched, one thing became clear: this wasn't just a royal wedding. It was the beginning of a new royal era. For months, rumors had swirled. Every appearance, every glance, every subtle exchange between the young royals was dissected by experts and fans alike. Yet nothing could have prepared the world for what unfolded on this day, a ceremony that transcended tradition, uniting two nations and reminding everyone why love remains the most powerful force in history. The moment Leonor stepped out of the royal carriage, silence swept over the crowd. Her gown shimmered in soft ivory silk, embroidered with threads representing both Spain and Denmark, two legacies intertwined. Her face, calm yet radiant, carried the weight of generations. This was not the nervous girl seen at military training or the shy princess once shadowed by her parents. This was a woman ready to embrace destiny. The cathedral itself was bathed in light. Candles flickered along ancient stone walls as choirs sang a hauntingly beautiful hymn that echoed through centuries of Spanish royalty. King Felipe stood at the front, his hands clasped tightly, trying to contain the emotion swelling in his chest. Queen Letizia, graceful and poised, blinked back tears as her daughter began her walk down the aisle. Every step Leonor took wasn't just toward her husband, it was toward her future, toward the throne, toward history itself. Christian's eyes found hers the moment she appeared. He stood motionless, his jaw set, his heart visible in his expression. This wasn't the calm, composed prince the world knew. This was a man completely undone by love. As Leonor approached, a small smile broke through his restraint. When she reached him, he whispered something that only she could hear. Her eyes softened. In that instant, the cameras captured what words could never describe: the power of genuine connection. The ceremony began, rich in tradition yet pulsing with something new. Each vow was spoken slowly, deliberately, their voices trembling not from fear but from emotion. "I will stand with you in duty and in devotion," Leonor said. The cathedral held its breath. "And I will honor you," Christian replied, "not only as a queen, but as the woman who changed my life." Then came the blessing. As the archbishop raised his hands, a beam of sunlight poured through the stained glass above, landing directly on the couple. It was as if the heavens themselves had chosen this moment to bless them. Even the most skeptical observers couldn't help but feel something profound stir within them. Outside, the world was watching. Crowds filled Madrid's royal square. Banners waved. Bells rang across the city. From Copenhagen to London, from Paris to Rome, televisions broadcast every second. And yet, despite the grandeur, the most unforgettable moment came not from royal ceremony, but from raw emotion. When Leonor turned to face her parents, her eyes glistened. King Felipe stepped forward and placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "Spain is proud," he whispered, though microphones barely caught it. "But I am prouder as your father." Queen Letizia, unable to hold back her tears, embraced her daughter tightly. For that brief moment, protocol vanished. The royal family wasn't royal, they were human. As Leonor and Christian exited the cathedral, the crowd erupted into cheers. Rose petals rained down. Trumpets blared. The sound of joy filled the streets of Madrid like thunder. Yet, amidst the celebration, Leonor paused. She looked back one last time, toward her family, her country, her childhood. Then, she turned toward her future. The newlyweds boarded the royal carriage, hand in hand. Cameras captured every angle, but one small moment stood out above all. Leonor leaned close to Christian and whispered, "We did it." His reply came with a smile, "No, you did." That quiet exchange became the headline quote of the day, two simple sentences that carried the weight of destiny. Throughout Europe, reactions poured in. Danish citizens cheered their prince's union with Spain's future queen. Spanish fans filled plazas and streets, singing, waving flags, and crying tears of pride. Even rival royal commentators agreed. This was the most emotionally charged wedding Europe had seen in decades. But behind the splendor was a story of endurance. Leonor and Christian's love had survived scrutiny, politics, and protocol. They had faced doubts from advisors, questions from the press, and the heavy expectations of royal bloodlines. Yet through it all, they never faltered. Their relationship had grown quietly, in private moments, handwritten letters, shared confidences, fleeting glances across diplomatic tables. And now, before the entire world, their patience and loyalty had found its reward. Later, during the royal banquet, another emotional scene unfolded. King Felipe rose to deliver a speech, one that moved even the most stoic guests to tears. When a king sees his daughter take her first step, he sees the child who will one day walk alone into her destiny. And today, Leonor, you have done that. But you are not alone. You are loved, by your family, by your people, by the man beside you. The applause was thunderous. Leonor's eyes shimmered as she turned toward her father, mouthing the words, "Thank you." The camera caught it, one of those fleeting, unscripted royal moments that the world would replay endlessly. The evening continued with grace and grandeur. Dancers filled the ballroom, orchestras played softly, and royal guests from across the globe mingled under chandeliers of gold. Yet the truest beauty lay not in the music or the jewels, but in the way Leonor and Christian looked at each other. Whenever their eyes met, the rest of the room seemed to fade away. As the night drew to a close, the couple stepped onto the palace balcony. Below, thousands of candles illuminated the plaza like stars fallen to earth. Leonor raised her hand in a wave, but this wasn't a gesture of royalty. It was a gesture of gratitude. She smiled, a real, unguarded smile, and whispered something to Christian as fireworks burst over Madrid's skyline. That image, the young couple framed by light, two nations united beneath them, became the defining symbol of the day. Across television screens, newspapers, and social media, one phrase echoed again and again, a moment history will never forget. Because it wasn't just a royal wedding. It was the birth of a legacy. A moment where love overcame duty. Where tradition met heart. Where the future Queen of Spain showed the world that monarchy can be both powerful and profoundly human. As dawn approached and the celebrations slowly quieted, one final scene unfolded behind palace doors. Leonor, still in her gown, stood by a window overlooking the sleeping city. Christian approached, placing his coat around her shoulders. They didn't speak for a while. Then she turned to him and said softly, "I hope I make them proud." Christian smiled, pulling her close. "You already have," he whispered. And that, not the diamonds, not the ceremony, not the cameras, was the truest moment of all. Because in the end, this wasn't just the story of a royal couple. It was the story of two souls bound by love, courage, and destiny. And years from now, when historians write about this day, they will say what the world already knows in its heart. That on this day, love didn't just unite two people. It reshaped the future of Spain. A moment history will never forget.